Imagine receiving an anonymous letter filled with strange symbols, cryptic messages, and a terrifying threat. Now imagine that this letter wasn't sent just to you but to entire newspapers, to an entire city. And behind these messages, a cruel killer, playing with the police, leaving clues, and challenging the world to uncover his identity. This is the mystery of the Zodiac Killer. A real case that shocked the United States and remains unsolved to this day. And what if I told you that, even decades later, new clues continue to appear? Are we closer to discovering the truth? Or has the Zodiac won this deadly game? It was a cold night on December 20th, 1968. Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday, a young couple, parked their car in a secluded area, just like many teenagers did at the time. But what was supposed to be a peaceful moment turned into a nightmare. Shortly after, gunshots echoed in the darkness. When the police arrived, they found David lying beside the car, a bullet wound to the head. Betty Lou had tried to run, but she was shot 5 times in the back. The killer vanished without a trace. A few months later, on July 4th, 1969, another attack occurred. This time, the targets were a different couple, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mago. They were sitting in a parking lot when a car approached. A man stepped out and, without saying a word, began shooting. Darlene died at the scene, but incredibly, Michael survived. Wounded and in shock, he managed to describe the shooter, a medium-built man dressed in dark clothing. And then, something unexpected happened. A few hours later, the police received a phone call from a man claiming responsibility for the attacks. He provided details only the killer would know. And before hanging up, he left a chilling statement: "I am the Zodiac Killer." Local newspapers started receiving strange letters, signed by the Zodiac. Some contained clear messages, while others were filled with cryptic codes. He demanded that his letters be published on the front pages of newspapers. If his wishes were not met, he threatened to commit more crimes. One of these messages read, "I like killing people because it's so much fun. It's more fun than hunting in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all." But what was even more terrifying were the mysterious symbols included with the letters. Some seemed random, others hid dark secrets. On September 27, 1969, another attack took place. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were relaxing near Lake Berryessa when they were suddenly confronted by a masked man. This time, the Zodiac didn't use a gun. He tied up his victims and brutally attacked them with a knife. Before fleeing, he left behind a chilling signature. He drew his symbol on the victim's car and wrote the date of the crime. Miraculously, Brian survived. But Cecilia wasn't as lucky. And the most disturbing part, he called the police right after, confessing the crime with unsettling coldness. The city of San Francisco became the stage for the next crime. On the night of October 11, 1969, taxi driver Paul Stein was shot at point-blank range. Unlike the previous cases, this time, the killer didn't target a couple. And he did something even bolder. He tore off a piece of Paul's blood-stained shirt and sent it to the newspapers. The police actually had a suspect in sight. But due to a crucial mistake, he managed to escape. The biggest frustration in this case is that, despite all the clues, no one has ever been able to identify the Zodiac. The codes he sent took decades to be deciphered. In 2020, a group of cryptographers managed to decode one of his most famous messages. But to everyone's disappointment, it contained no revelation about his identity. Over the years, many suspects have emerged. The main one was Arthur Lee Allen. But there was never concrete evidence to incriminate him. The Zodiac Killer loved to toy with the police. He promised new crimes, made threats, and challenged the authorities. But as the years passed, his messages stopped coming. Did he die? Did he simply stop killing? Or have we never truly stopped hearing from him? Decades have passed, and the case remains unsolved. It has become one of the most intriguing mysteries in criminal history. But what do you think? Was the Zodiac just an exceptionally clever killer? Or could he have been more than one person, a group that enjoyed spreading chaos? Leave your theory in the comments. And if you love mysteries like this, don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying stories if you dare.